All right, everyone. So I noticed in the comments on the YouTube videos that you guys have been pointing out that my gold counter has been going up pretty darn quickly, and it sure has, because it wasn't very long ago that I was basically at 0 gold. I was buying as many blue crystals as I could while the price was really cheap, and for the last few days I've decided to save up, and here we are just a couple days later at over 20,000. I'm currently sitting at 21,770. So before I go on a bit of a spending spree, I wanted to put out a video here of how I basically made this 20,000 plus gold in just a few days. And I have a list of all the things that I've been doing and keeping track of, all the things that I've been adding to my gold counter. And I want to start off with a really big one here that I haven't really talked a whole lot about in any of my other videos, and it's a pretty important one, and that is trade skills. Now I'm going to open up my trade skills tab right now so that you guys can actually see I'm currently level 16 excavating and I am level 14 foraging. So I've been putting in a decent chunk of work, especially into excavating. Foraging I was really working on earlier on. Over the last couple of days, I've been excavating a lot, and I want to open up the market so that you guys can get a good sense here of how profitable these trade skills actually are. I'm going to start off with the foraging because that's the one that I was working on for a while, but I decided to stop and focus more on excavating recently. Now, for a while, foraging was actually these mushrooms here, these exquisite mushrooms were selling for like 30 to 40 gold for 10 of them, and then the price kind of tanked. And I was actually over in Lullaby Islands. If you guys don't know, that's the one where you have to do that every 2 hours. You have to do that event to get the song, and you have to do it 3 times. So Lullaby Island was like a really good place that I was actually gathering a ton of mushrooms and a ton of stuff with foraging. There's not really like a ton of monsters. It's pretty easy. It's pretty comfy. Like, it's a really nice place to chill and collect with foraging. And it was a really big money-making spot for me, especially while these mushrooms were really, really expensive. But the thing is, after these mushrooms kind of went down in price, it's still not bad because you're going to get a lot of these like wildflowers here. But when the mushrooms went down from like 30 to 40 gold to 10 to 15, I decided to really focus on excavating. And excavating is also very, very big money. And I'll show you guys kind of my secret spot for a little while here. Now, notice in excavating, even the ancient relics, and these you sell in bundles of 100. A bundle of 100 of these is still going for 30 gold, and you get these really, really quickly. Like, every single node that you excavate is going to give you way more materials compared to foraging. Like, when you're gathering plants, you're only going to maybe get like 2 to 6 or so of the common and rare plants. But when you are excavating, every node that I actually hit gives me between like 10 to 30 of these, and also has a very good chance to give you like 5, 10, 15 of these rare relics every single node. So, you know, at a price of almost 30 for the bundle of 100 of the white nodes, or the white relics, and then for basically 1 gold per rare relic, these are, you sell in bundles of 10, so 11 gold for 10, that's a little over 1 gold each. Like, these are going to pile up really, really quickly. Just 10, 15, 20 minutes of going to my spot and excavating is going to get me hundreds of these, which is going to sell easily for hundreds of gold. A solid session of excavating, you know, in under an hour is going to net me like 1,000 gold, or possibly even more, depending on my RNG, depending on if I get a Platinum Fields ticket, depending on how many of these Kaldar relics I get. It is still partly RNG, but it's a solid amount of money. And my secret spot for foraging was Lullaby Island, and my secret spot for excavating lately has been Azurwind Island. This island is super chill. It's really, really big. There's a lot of like open field, and there's not a lot of mobs. There's a couple of grass beetles here and there that you have to worry about, but besides that, it's a super huge open spot with tons and tons of relics everywhere. They're all over the islands. You'll find tons of them, and you don't have to worry too much about getting killed by monsters or getting hit by monsters. If you do, you can always just use super armor on your tools, but I just find that this island is like super chill, super laid back, and I always find tons of old relics as well, which are the purple ones. So that's kind of been my top 2 spots for trade skills. But that's not how I've made all my money. That's just been a portion of it. Another really important one is I want to go back to the market, and I want to focus in on enhancement honing materials. Specifically, I want to mention selling materials, but selectively selling materials. Not just dumping all of your honing stuff on the market. You have to be a little bit picky about it and a little selective, and you kind of have to like keep an eye on the market and see which stuff is going to be worth selling and which stuff isn't. Obviously, a really big one is going to be like the life leap stones right now. Never in a million years am I going to use unbound life leap stones if I can sell them for 200 gold each. That's going to be an instant sale for me. And then obviously the shard bags as well. Like Harmony shard bags are still going for 200 gold each, which is actually surprising because that's the Harmony shard small bags are actually going for less than the life shard bags are. And I'll mention why that's important here in a second. But even stuff like the tier 2 Guardian Stones, you know, I'll be careful about this. Obviously, you still need these for upgrades, but notice how like the Guardian Stones are basically the average daily price is over double what the Destruction Stones are. So if I find that I could sell a chunk of these, the extra ones that I don't need, my main limited material for upgrading tier 2 stuff is not actually really the Guardian Stones. It's more or less going to be the Leap Stones. And those, I'm comfortable getting those from my Una's dailies. I'm comfortable getting those from my daily Chaos Dungeons and other sources. So I find that I have a decent chunk of these extra ones to sell. And at 24 average daily price for a bundle of 10 of these, that's a pretty good chunk of extra money that you can make if you're selectively selling your mats. Now, again, don't just dump everything on the market. You want to be a little bit smart about this and kind of develop your own strategy. It's going to be a little unique to each one person individually. Now, the next thing I'll mention is, again, unbound materials. Doing your treasure maps from your Chaos Gates. I know I've talked about Chaos Gates quite a bit in the last couple of videos, but they really are that important. It's worth mentioning them again. It takes like 5 minutes to run these, so just make sure that on the days that your Chaos Gates are available, you do the appropriate ones. And honestly, this is another one of those like 200 IQ things that you might want to consider, and I might even be considering this, is strangely enough, because the Harmony Shard bags are actually selling for more than the Life Shard bags right now, like the Harmony Shard bags are twice the price, I might actually even go back down to a lower level Chaos Gate and get treasure maps for the maps that actually give you the unbound Harmony Shards because they sell for more. Now, I'm going to have to do a bit of math, and I'm going to have to see if, like, the Moon's Breath that I miss out, because you're going to get Star's Breath instead of Moon's Breath, if it's actually worth it. But you just kind of have to, like, you know, take a look, constantly be looking at the market. I'm constantly analyzing prices and kind of seeing, you know, what's going to be worth, what Chaos Gate is going to be worth it. Is it going to be the one that's closest to my item level? Or maybe, because of these Life Shard bags only being 75 gold right now, and the Harmony Shard bags being like 200, maybe it's actually worth jumping down in item level Chaos Gates and farming lower level materials because people are paying more for them. So that's something else that, you know, I'll occasionally do. I'll ask myself that question. But Chaos Gates are a big one no matter what. Now, another big one is actually, I'm making this video right now, not on my main character. I'm making this on an alt because obviously alts are a very big deal. Even if your alts are still in tier 1, you might notice on the market, tier 1 materials are really, really cheap. Like, they're not super great to sell, but just running your daily Chaos Dungeons on your alt, you have a chance to encounter something like the Gold Room, right? And not only does the Gold Room, where you kill like a little goblin or a little treasure chest that kind of bounces around, you have a chance to also have the Boss Room show up, where you get even more gold. And on top of that, those rooms have a chance of giving you skins, tradable skins that you can actually end up selling on the market. And I actually got a couple because I'm pretty good about you know, doing my Chaos Dungeons on my alts. I have a good chance to encounter the gold rooms, the boss rooms, which not only give you a decent chunk of gold themselves, but also have a chance to drop unbound skins. And I got pretty lucky, and I got a couple of skins that were, you know, 500 to 600 gold, and I got one that was 3,000 gold. So another good reason why, even if your alts are in tier 1, running those lower entry Chaos Dungeons for a chance to get the gold room, to get those unbound skins, like that's the jackpot. It's obviously pretty RNG though, because you have to get lucky to get a gold room and then to get the skins to drop, but it's definitely worth the payoff if you stick to it. So that's another really big one. Now, I'll mention something that I could do even better about, but it's a really nice chunk of gold, especially considering that the engraving books are actually still pretty darn valuable. If we take a look at the rare ones, and we see that still the top class engraving books are almost 200 gold each. So if you have some extra time doing infinite Chaos Dungeons on whatever character that you can, to end up buying these books right here, and especially the ones for tier 2 materials, you can only buy these once. So you can't farm this like once you buy them, but that's 20 books that you could sell for 150 gold plus. That's 3,000 to 4,000 gold, and it's going to take you like maybe an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours at the most in order to farm the Guardian Shards and the Perception Shards for this. And these ones are going to be like 30 gold or so each. So, you know, a nice chunk of potentially up to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 gold for doing this one time in a couple of hours. Definitely worth it. I bought a couple, but even me, like, that's still another couple thousand gold that I could end up getting in addition to the gold that I've already gotten. So Now, the other thing that I'll mention, which has kind of been a bit deceiving, is guardian raids. I actually haven't been doing a ton of guardian raids, and don't get me wrong, they get really, really good once you get to tier 2 guardians. I would even go so far as to say that tier 1 guardians are just not worth doing. On my main, on my alts, they're not worth it. But as soon as I start doing tier 2 guardians, I have a whole bunch of rest bonus ready to go. And the thing is, the tier 2 guardians are going to start to give you the unbound life leap stones, which the unbound life leap stones are almost 200 gold each, which is crazy. So if you have some rest energy, if you have alts that are collecting that rest energy, getting ready to do your tier 2 guardians, you know, each run is going to give you like 6 to 10 plus of these, which is thousands and thousands of gold per run. Whereas if you were to do the tier 1 guardians, it just, to me, it doesn't feel like it's really worth the time, given that the unbound harmony leap stones are like a tenth of the price. So each of those runs, you're still going to possibly get like, you know, 50, 100, 150 gold, but I feel like I have other things to do that could make me more gold per hour than doing tier 1 guardians. So I'm just kind of saving myself and saving rest energy for tier 2 so I can cash in on the 10 times more valuable life leap stones there. So that's really, like, that list right there has primarily been how I accumulated 20,000 plus gold. A lot of it is keeping up with multiple alts, keeping up with my trade skills, chaos gates, treasure maps, all that sort of stuff. It adds up. It really does. Just playing the game and doing these things and being smart about kind of, you know, looking for prices and kind of seeing what select honing materials to sell, which ones not to sell, that sort of stuff. In just a couple of days of playing actively has gotten me over 20,000 gold. So I just kind of wanted to share with you guys this list. Hopefully it helps out. I think I'm going to go on a bit of a spending spree, probably buy some more blue crystals and maybe some other stuff on the market. But I wanted to make this video before I go on a spending spree here so you guys can kind of get a sense of how I made this money. So with that being said, that's going to be about it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoy. I hope that it helped out. If it did and you enjoyed, consider leaving a quick like. Consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this in the future. And feel free to check out the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/salt, where I'll be streaming Lost Ark as well as other games. Thanks again, everyone. Take care, and until next time.